about whether or not to send troops. And most of you have, or probably all of you have children. What kind of war would be justified that you would send your own child? Can you define what is a just or unjust war from your own personal perspective?
Well, I think that's an incredibly important question and a great way to put it, because when I do think about war, I think about it in very personal terms. I think about it myself going or one of my kids going. I think I also have the obligation, as we all should have the obligation, to obey the Constitution. And one thing that gets left out of these questions often is, what are you going to do? When will you go to war? When won't you go to war? You'll go to war when Congress initiates war through a formal declaration of war. This has not been happening in recent times, but there have been times when we were unified. When we were attacked in Pearl Harbor, we voted the next day, nearly unanimously. When we were attacked in 9/11, we voted nearly unanimously. But I think the decision is one where you have to obey the Constitution. We should not illegally be at war. We should never leave it up unilaterally to one president to decide, when do we go to war, when we don't. And I'd like to go briefly just back to the protocol question on, what do you do, who do you call? I think the most important thing is kind of what Ben was bringing up, is that in advance, we're not scrambling around trying to think, oh no, what do we do? We have protocols in place for everything. And we've thought through all of this, and what the name of the person isn't so much important, that we've thought through this. And the reason I bring this up is one dramatic thing happened. A lot of people don't know this. On 9/11/2001, as that plane was coming from Pennsylvania, the last plane, and as it was headed towards the White House, we were asked to scramble our jets to bring it down. And do you know that we had no jets, no fighter jets that were armed? They didn't have time to arm them, and a young woman by the name of Lucky Penny was told to scramble to her F-16. She gets in the air, and she's told to bring it down by any means, which would have been a suicide mission. She was headed to bring that plane down without any arms on the plane. That's not having a sufficient protocol in place. It still bothers me that after 9/11, no one was fired. We caught the 20th hijacker a month in advance. The FBI wrote 70 letters saying the 20th hijacker may have information, let's look at his computer. And it wasn't because the Constitution failed us, individuals failed us. They did not ask for a warrant. There was a chance we could have stopped 9/11 had we just looked at that guy's computer.